So let me explain how you should play the games in what order, in my experience. Um, I play them all out of order because, well, they came out of order. Thank you, Square Enix. Thank you. But yeah, thanks to people will call almost all the games spin-offs, and no, there is a sort of cohesive story. It's complex, it's tedious, it's annoying, and we can blame probably Tetsuya Nomura, but whatever. Um, at least he made one decent game series, and he botched another. Give and take, I guess. So, I will mention that, like Final Fantasy 13, which he also made, thank you, one of the worst Final Fantasy games in existence. Anyway, besides my rage towards that game, even though, like every Final Fantasy, I've not beaten any of them, and I've played like 10 of them. But yeah, um, so yeah, like Final Fantasy 13, a lot of the story is in the journal, which people ignore because I don't know, the cutscenes in 2 specifically tell you to almost specifically tell you to read the journal because they're not going to explain the story to you. I am serious. They actually did that, and after playing Kingdom Hearts 2 again, the final mix, which I'll show you in a second, I was really annoyed that they did that. It's like, no, 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 that's too complicated, and they were almost alluding to the consumer, and it really, it almost pinched that nerve of bitterness and anger, towards Square Enix, but no, I'll try not to let it. But let me suggest my order in playing the games. So here's Birth by Sleep, and then I recommend playing 1, Rechain of Memories. As much as people hate it and they say it's a pointless remake, it's plot relevant, alright? You're not going to understand the story of 2. Not as much as someone like the completionist says. I didn't play the game and I get the story fine. No. Even if you read the journal, you're not going to get everything. You're not going to get the background characters of everyone in Organization 13 and why they hate you and all that shit. No. Even though it has just as much condescending bullshit about, the characters being dumbed down and, read the journal to explain half the plot. It's another slightly annoying thing. At least in the first game, you could read the journal and just explain the enemy's backstory, which, they sort of already gave you a decent backstory, so you didn't, unless you were truly invested, and it was more like a one-note title, you could just play the first game and you'd be fine, really, if you think about it. But if you want to play the whole series, I'd suggest Birth by Sleep here, Kingdom Hearts 1, then Rechain of Memories. You can also try Chain of Memories, but it's a handheld game, and I don't think you get as much out of it from my experience of playing the game, but that's just me. And then 2. After that, then it would be 3Ds, but I haven't played that yet. I've only seen the cutscenes thanks to YouTube, and I will eventually get the game, so don't tell me I'm a bad person. I did that with a lot of games. I watched all the Halo cutscenes on YouTube because I hate Halo and I suck at it, and I wanted to see what it was all about. Yeah, I suck at the games, and not because it's hard or no, I just really don't like the mechanics, and I don't feel like dragging my way through all those stages. It's not interesting to me. I hate the drab colors. Anyway, so yeah, that would be my suggestion. Whether you have a PS2 or a backwards compatible PS3, and you can get a PSP to play this. That would be my suggestion. But since people bitched about that back when this was only PS2 and PSP related, who knows, maybe not. Everyone's still bitching about it years later. And now you need a 3DS. So, 3 systems, I would suggest doing it that way. Or you can do this, which is easier, but it also has terrible loading times and trophies and other bullshit. They did fix the control scheme for the first game and for Birth by Sleep, but that is the 2 HD collections, and still in the same order. Play Birth by Sleep Final Mix, 1 Final Mix, Rechain of Memories, which is finally available in Europe thanks to this collection. So don't bitch about HD collections all the time. Otherwise, no one would get anything ever. And then Two Final Mix, which is the most broken out of all of them, and it's truly annoying. I don't know if they patched it, but since they didn't even patch this one after a notorious glitch in the Japanese version, or I guess they patched in this, but they didn't patch. They fixed it in the American version, but I don't think they ever patched in Japan. So yeah, Square Enix are dicks. But that would be my suggestion for playing the games, would be those in that order, and then 3Ds. This would be easier, for those who are that invested. If you just want to play one game in a series and just get the basic, simple story, and basic, fun gameplay, then that's just the first game, because it could just be a standalone game, sort of like The Matrix could have been a standalone movie, or numerous other franchises for that matter. But yeah, yeah. This series is not for everyone. Everyone, people have suggested it over and over, even though it's complicated and they know it and they don't feel like explaining it. I would explain it and then recommend it. That would make more sense. But then again, I haven't really done that either. But yeah, to be honest, the first game is the easiest to understand, and then the Rechain of Memory sort of explained what happened after Sora became a Heartless, and they added more enemies and weird spiritual jargon, which basically explains, Sora became retarded halfway through, like in the last third of the first game, which you hardly noticed. And then Rechain of Memories dumbs down the character immensely, along with Donald. And then Kingdom Hearts 2 makes all the Disney characters think that Sora and Donald were both completely retarded in the first game, which they were not. And that's really annoying that Square Enix tried to fool me. Yeah, that's not cool. It isn't. It really is not cool. Well, whatever. It's Square Enix. And Donald's like my favorite Disney character of the classic old school Disney characters. And Goofy. I don't really care much about Mickey Mouse, honestly, but whatever. But yeah. This was the first episode of Declassified. Next will probably be, I think, setting. We'll go over the setting of the whole Kingdom Hearts universe, and why I don't believe some of the theories of people who don't want, like, Marvel or Star Wars universes to coincide with the Kingdom Hearts universe, and why it's bullshit. Because I have some good ideas for that, and I think it would work. But yeah, have a good day. If you have any more questions or ideas, please post them in the comments below. Thank you.